Blessings BookTube. Here I have another Bullwinkld fairy tale for you. This is the story of the three bears. You'll see why it's not called Goldilocks in the original version by Robert Southey. This version is versified by G.N., who leaves it at that. Far be it for me to speculate who G.N. might be, but I enjoyed their versification. There's also some pretty pictures here on the Internet Archive version. This called The Three Bears once upon a time did dwell snug in a house together, which was their own and suited well by keeping out the weather. 'Twas seated in a shady wood in which they daily walked, and afterwards, as in the mood, they smoked or read or talked. One of them was a great huge bear, and one of a middle size, the other a little small wee bear, with small wee twinkling eyes. Three bears each had a porridge pot from which they used to feed. The huge great bear's own porridge pot was very large indeed. A pot of middle size the bear of a middle size had got, and so the little small wee bear a little small wee pot. A chair there was for every bear, when they might choose to sit. The huge bear had a great chair, huge chair, and filled it every bit. The middle bear a chair he had, he of a middle size and neat. The bear so little, small and wee, a little small wee seat. They also each one had a bed to sleep upon at night. The huge bear's was a great huge bed, in length and width and height. The middle bear laid down his head on a bed of middle size. The wee bear on a small wee bed did nightly close his little eyes. One morn their porridge being made and poured into each pot, to taste it they were all afraid, it seemed so boiling hot. A burnt child dreads the fire, a bear doth dread it just as much, and these bears proved in taking care their porridge not to touch. For the most cautious had become, from having once before their mouths severely burnt with some, which made them dance and roar. The funny picture of them jumping around with their burning mouths. They therefore let their breakfast be till it should cooler grow, and meantime for a walk the three into the wood did go. And now a little old woman there came whilst the bears were out. Through window, keyhole, everywhere she peeped and peered about. And then she lifted up the latch, and through the door she went. For hold of all she could to snatch, no doubt was her intent. Ooh. So here you see we got quite a different version here from a cautionary tale, like most fairy tales are, of young adolescents. Goldilocks. Instead, we've got the old woman, so we got a crone figure here in this version. The bear had left the door undone while strolling in the wood, for they suspected harm from none. They were themselves so good. The little old dame had entered in, and was well pleased to find the porridge pots, and that within they held food of such kind. Now, had she waited till home came the bears, most likely they to breakfast might have asked the dame, and begged of her to stay. But she was impudent and bold, and cared for none a pin, so quickly of a spoon laid hold the porridge to dip in. Here it's the bears are good and the people are bad. First out of the great bear's pot the porridge she did taste, which proved to be very hot. She spat it out in haste. She burned her mouth, at which, half mad, she said a naughty word. A naughty word it was, and bad, as ever could be heard. The middle bear she tasted next, which being rather cold, she disappointed was and vexed, with bad words did scold. And now to where the small wee bear had left her small wee cup, she came, and soon the porridge there by her was eaten up. Now we've got our first picture of her. She's in ragged clothes. She looks to be sleeping rough. Um, this is probably like a lot of old ladies, babushkas, whose sin is to outlive their husbands by 10, 20 years due to their husband's profligacy. And these poor old ladies, being nothing but just nice old ladies, are, vilified. Even their wisdom's turned against them. If they know plant lore and such, well, there, you know all about it. A wicked word she spoke again, as wicked as before, because this pot did not contain many a spoonful more. Then down the little old woman sat, within the huge bear's chair, but much too hard for her was that, and so she stayed not there. Next she tried the middle-sized one, and that too soft she found. Then sat the small wee chair upon, which fitted her all round. Now here for someone, sometime sat the dame, till half inclined to snore, when out this wee chair's bottom came, and hers came on the floor. She stuck in the frame of the chair's seat, broke through. A wicked word about this too she spoke, then went upstairs and poked her ugly head into the bedroom of the bears, and sat down, and down upon the huge bed's bears she lay, which was too high to suit her little ugly head, which easy could not lie. Then to the middle bear she goes, and quick upon it got, but at the foot too high it rose, and she liked it not. Now down upon the small wee bed she lay, and it was quite the thing, both at the foot and head, and fitted her just right. Ah. Thus fiddling, finding that it suited well, within the clothes she crept, then soon into a slumber fell, and snug and soundly slept. Although the morning sun shone bright, and birds did sweetly sing, she slept, as if it had been night, this sad old lazy thing. The three bears in their jackets rough now came in from the wood, thinking their porridge long enough to cool itself had stood. "Somebody has at my porridge been," the huge bear's gruff voice cried, for there the spoon was sticking in, which he left at the side. "Somebody has at my porridge been," then said the middle bear, for also in his pot was seen the spoon, which made him stare. These spoons were wooden spoons, not made of silver, else full soon this wicked dame would, I'm afraid, have pocketed each spoon. The small bear's small voice said, as in he peered to his wee cup, "Somebody has at my porridge been, and eaten it all up." On this the three bears, finding that the while they had been out, someone the door had entered at, began to look about. "Somebody in my chair has sat," with voice so gruff and great, the huge bear said, when he saw that his cushion was not straight. "Somebody in my chair has been," the middle bear exclaimed, seeing the cushion dinted in, what may not be named. Then said the little small wee bear, looking his chair into, "Someone's been sitting in my chair and sat the bottom through." Now, having searched the house below most prudently, these bears thought it just as well to go and do the same upstairs. "Living large, these bears, 2 stories. Someone's been lying in my bed," cried out the great huge bear, who left his pillow at the head, and now it was not there. "Someone's been lying in my bed," the middle bear then cried, for it was tumbled at the head and at the foot and side. And now the little wee bear said, with voice both small and shrill, "Someone's been lying in my bed, and here she's lying still." The other bears looked at the bed, and on the pillowcase they saw her dirty little head and little ugly face. Oh, the little woman had the deep voice of the huge voice heard, but she was in so sound a sleep she neither woke nor stirred, for it appeared to her no more than thunder rumbling by, or than the angry winds which roar and sweep across the sky. And she had heard the middle bear, whose middle voice did seem to her asleep, as though it were the voice but of a dream. But when the small wee bear did speak, she started up in bed. His voice it was so shrill, the squeak shot through her ugly head. And there's a picture of her pulling the covers up. Look at these bears. She rubbed her eyes, and then she saw the 3 bears at her side. She sprang full quick upon the floor, and then with hop and stride, she to the open window flew, which these good tidy bears wide open every morning through, when shaved they went downstairs. Shave? The bears are shaving? She leapt out with a sudden bound, and whether in her fall she broke her neck upon the ground, or was not hurt at all, or whether to the wood she fled, and mongst the trees was lost, or found a path which straightway led to where the highway crossed, and there was by the beadle caught and taken into jail. This sad old woman, good for naught, remains an untold tale. Beadle's like a local police person, constable, sheriff, whatever. Okay, so undecided ending. What happened to this poor old lady who dared to steal a bit of porridge and have a wee kip? So the Bullwinkld team, Ireki and Bullwinkld, pulled an interesting reverso on this story. We've seen this, they've done this with a couple of them before. In this case, it is Goldilocks, although she got a funny name in this one. I can't remember the name. It was very funny. She has has the house, a lodge, in fact, a big winter lodge that she opens up to make money. But she opens it in summer for some reason, so she has no customers. So she goes wandering about, and In the meantime, the bears come. And of course, they come into this comfy lodge, make themselves at home. And when the Goldilocks returns for the winter, there's got a crowd now coming in to fill her lodge, customers. Um, Problem, bears. But it has a happy ending because the solution is found. Although you are sort of, um, there's often a slightly violent side to these these Bullwinkle versions. It's not the first time we've seen gunplay. So she grabs a gun off the wall, and you think that's it for the bears. And the next thing you see them mounted on the wall, these three heads, right, on the wall, and with their plaques around them. But what it is the bears just needed somewhere to hibernate. So she said, "Oh, you can hibernate here." And so their bodies are on the other side of the wall, and they're sleeping, and they've just got their sleeping heads stuck through the wall, looking like they're stuffed. And so the bears actually make the winter lodge quite popular. So a nice, happy ending to that version. So hope you enjoyed the Bullwinkle tale of the three bears.